Good morning. How are we doing, guys? Another beautiful day here in Omaha. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Thank you for joining us again here. Every Tuesday doing sales meetings. I'm not sure if this is a good thing or a bad thing, getting used to doing this. So we are stoked. Here in a second, we're going to do a quick little video. Gina says she keeps getting texts and chats about my great dance moves, baby. I'm going to stick with real estate. Don't worry. I'm not going into dancing. I was just looking at a number of quotes that I have, and I thought maybe that is appropriate for this. JFK said, if not us, who? If not now, when? And then we're obviously not talking about my dance moves when we're talking about that, guys. So we're going to do a quick little video here. Christy and Sarah were sending videos to me, and I had one picked out, and then Christy sent a couple more this morning that I looked at. I think the one we're playing is Make an Impact. Make an Impact, and I don't know if most of you know, but Ralph had his funeral this weekend. And so this is kind of a little tribute to Ralph, because I really believe that the impact and legacy that he'll have in life will not be his success in real estate and business, but the impact that he's had on so many people's lives. So Gina, do we have it ready?
We have it ready.
Play it. Thank you.
When we're laying on our deathbed, you're not going to worry about how much money you had, how much power you had, how much prestige. You're going to see that that was all game, that was all an illusion. The only thing that's going to matter is the impact you had on other people's lives.
We are all on a separate journey. But the beautiful thing about our life here on this earth is at my funeral, they ain't going to talk about my success. They're going to talk about who Nick was and how Nick lived and how Nick loved and encouraged.
Success is incredibly important, but even more important than success, it's having an impact. It's knowing you haven't walked the planet in vain. It's knowing that because you've been here, you've blessed lives, you've developed people, and you have made the world a better place.
The effect you have on others is the most valuable currency there is. Everything you gain in life will rot and fall apart, and all that will be left of you is what was in your heart.
Life is a mirror, and life gives us not what we want. Life gives us who we are. When you were born, you cried while the world rejoiced. Live your life in such a way that when you die, the world cries while you rejoice.
So let's keep Ralph in our memory as we move forward. Nico, you're in our thoughts and prayers, brother. I think there's zero question that Ralph's legacy will clearly be the impact from the stuff that he did at the Salvation Army, all the charitable giving he did, and all those other things. So quick little quote that I love from Maya Angelou. I can never pronounce her name. If you're always trying to be normal, you will never know how amazing you can be. I think that's a really true statement. If you're always trying to be normal, you will never know how amazing you can be. Lori, we're going to give you a couple minutes here to talk about 210 and what you guys are doing and how you're staying busy through this whole coronavirus craziness that we have going on out there. So shoot away.
Very good. Can you hear me?
Barely.
I'll scoot up really close. Is that better?
That's better.
Okay. See if I can turn that volume up sometimes my computer works really loud and sometimes it doesn't. Nope, I'm at 100%. So anyway, I'm doing great, and I appreciate the weather cooperating when it cooperates, but sometimes it doesn't, and that's okay too. Everything's going well, and I just had a few reminders for the agents about 210 in case you had questions. We do have the free listing coverage, and Jordy's very good about sending me those at the end of each day so we can get those ordered for listing coverage. But coming up, we're getting into spring season, and AC coverage is something that at 210 we're very proud of. We have the most comprehensive coverage for 210 anywhere. So we include 100% of the R22 or the Freon. If you had a leak or something, we could fill it back up again at no out of pocket for the homeowner except the service fee. And if we can't repair your air conditioner, we can replace it. So the air conditioning coverage is great coming forward. During our listing period, when it's free, we do always include kitchen appliances because they're part of our 24/7, 365. So I think that's kind of important. But I've been reaching out to a lot of agents this week at Berkshire and talking to them, and a lot of them have said, do you mind if I send my or my seller to you? And that's absolutely perfect because I don't have the time in the office to talk to you. So I've been talking to a lot of homeowners this week and making them understand just exactly what's covered for them coming forward at closing, or what's covered during listing, or how to file a claim, all of those things. So, you know, I know you're busy and I love chatting with you for answering your phone, but you're very welcome to have them give me a call as well. Anything else?
Sorry, we were having a little sidebar conversation here. Thank you, Lori. Well, first of all, enjoy that weather. Thank you very much for the update. We missed not seeing you floating through the office. So guys, do remember, we've got these free home warranties, which we believe, it comes back to what we've been talking about over the last 2 years, concierge services. This is truly a value add to our clients. So Lori, we appreciate our partnership with you guys. Thank you very much. And hopefully here sooner than later, we'll all be floating around the office, seeing each other and socializing again, okay? Thank you very much. Gina's gonna set up here our panel I just walked through a couple things. I have been getting bombarded, it seems like especially with agents talking about, can we do open houses again that have builders, that new construction thing. And I'm hearing, obviously, we're not mandating you do anything. We give you some strong recommendations. And again, remember, the Omaha board letter is not a mandate also. Shannon, you've got to get over here and get ready also. Shannon's on our next panel too. But I'm hearing a number of builders that are going to do what I'm calling a soft open houses for their new construction starting early May, where I'm hearing that they're going to kind of say, hey, Jerry Torzon, who obviously as a developer, a lot of people follow, you know, we're going to have them sign the waiver that Scott had them, Scott's put together for us, saying I have not had coronavirus. I understand by coming in the house that, you know, if I get coronavirus, it's at my own risk. Only allowing one, I would say no more than 2 couples in the house at a time. So some of those precautions. And so a lot of the chatter I'm getting, and as I know a lot of you listing agents are getting pushback from your builders saying, listen, it's nice out when one of our houses open and you've been doing it by appointments only, is we'll continue to play the same by ear. But it makes sense that in May, you know, if you've got a builder pushing you and they want to do that and they're being socially conscious in this, that we would go ahead and maybe start doing some open houses there. I also know that Maggie and Heather, Maggie's on our next panel, maybe she can talk about it a little bit when we're done, is talking about trying to do a virtual new construction open house here over the maybe next week and or this weekend coming up. I'm not sure where we're on that. So I'll let Maggie give us an update on that. So guys, Shannon, you're up on this panel. So Shannon's, I be prepared, hopefully. Guys, welcome. Tanya, and I'm going to go around as I have each one of you talk, but we're going to circle back. We weren't going to do the convention takeaways, and then we had a number of people. Can all of you hear me okay, first of all? Good, okay. If you can't, tell me, I'll make Gina fix it somehow. But we kept getting people saying, hey, I didn't go to convention, or, you know, I always love that panel on convention takeaways. So even though this is about a month later, better late than never. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk around with each one of you, and the first question I'm going to do is kind of ask each one of you is, was this your first convention? If it was your first convention, just kind of what was your overall view of this? Tanya, could I start with you? Kind of, this was your first convention. I know that because you're newer to our organization.
Yes, this was, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, this was my first convention. Excuse me. I was really impressed. I mean, everything was, it was just a class act event. All of the time was packed full of a lot of really valuable information. I've gone to NARS convention before. If I had to compare the two, I would do the company convention all day long and not do NARS. It was that impressive. From the breakout sessions to the exhibitor hall, just a lot of value, as well as meeting the whole family, which was really cool to be able to connect with people from different areas.
Perfect. I'm going to circle back to you. Katie, this was your second convention. You went to Vegas last year with us, and then so Nashville was your second one. Is that correct?
Right. I had just come to Berkshire Hathaway, and I wanted to see what it was about. So I went to Las Vegas. It was just great energy and excitement. So I wanted to see it again in Nashville, and they really do, like Tanya said, a great job of just, it's really organized. It flows really nicely. You're always entertained and busy, and just overall, just great energy and excitement, and to be a part of a bigger, not just a little brokerage, but a big, Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices.
Katie, is there part, you've got the breakout sessions where you can go and do some learning. You've got the general sessions where we got Gino, Chris, and keynote speakers. You have our social event on Sunday evening and the other social events. Is there one of those components that you like better than the other?
Well, what I like is how you kind of build that up. So Sunday night, our group gets together. Everybody gets to talk with agents you haven't really seen, and you get to see them outside of the office in a social setting, and that builds up to the next day. And I think probably I really do like the general sessions in the morning. So the Gino and Chris Stewart speak. You get to see all of the awards, and you get to see, of course, our brokerage being recognized and all of our agents, showing up at this huge company. So that's really exciting.
Good, thank you. Nico, can you unmute yourself?
I got him.
Oh, hold on, we got you. Don't worry. Gina will control everything.
I know.
You guys don't touch anything, or I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
So Nico, obviously you've been in our thoughts and our prayers, and I know it's been a rough couple of weeks for you. So thank you for taking time to do this today, brother. We appreciate it. You went to Vegas, but in Vegas, I think you pretty much partied. I'm not sure that you attended any events. So I think you did actually attend some events here this year. So second year, what was your thoughts of the overall thing? And kind of the same question: is there a segment of that? The social events in our gathering on Sunday night, the general sessions, the breakout sessions. Is your favorite part of that? But kind of give an overall view of your perspective of convention.
Well, obviously, I think the social events on Sunday night is nice with the Berkshire agents in our office, especially because you actually get to meet people you probably don't even see around the office too often and get to know them and network with them. But I like the breakout sessions because I think it really allows you to go and learn on a topic that's important to you and tailor fit more to you, and so you can kind of get better takeaways from convention. I know, for example, when I was there, I was looking more along the lines of trying to figure out better ways to do video marketing, and there was quite a few breakout sessions that allowed that, so that was really nice.
Perfect. We will dive into that in a minute. Thank you very much, Nico, and again, you're in our thoughts and prayers, buddy. Sarah, can you kind of give this was your first convention?
Yep, it was my first convention, kind of along the same lines as Tanya. Pretty blown away by the sense of there's something bigger, much bigger than just here in Omaha. But everyone was warm, welcoming, friendly, helpful, and it was awesome to build relationships with a lot of the agents that I hadn't had the opportunity to do since December. So,
thank you. And I think that's one of the things that when we encourage people to go to convention, a big part of that is really that statement, Sarah, is that we want everybody to feel like and understand that there is something bigger than us just in Omaha. Part of being part of a national franchise is not all just the branding and the tools and the name recognition they have, but we want you to go there because we feel, I think those have went, and guys give me a thumb up if you agree. There's a sense of pride of being part of Omaha. That when people hear like you're from Omaha, because we get recognized so much because we're the most productive office in North America of all companies, all brands, that people know who we are. There's a mutual respect for us, and it's just kind of a cool thing to see all of us collectively are something bigger than ourselves and just what we do in the Omaha market. And I've always said, Scott and I've had this conversation that, I don't think, and Katie and Nico, maybe you guys can pop in on this, but that when people at CBS or Dodge or Nebraska Realty or these other things, they really understand that by being part of a national franchise, you'll learn from other people in other parts of the country that have a sense of what's going on sometimes, quite honestly, just on this whole coronavirus thing. Me jumping on calls with guys in Michigan and Pennsylvania and Utah and other parts of the country, I think gives us a competitive advantage to be proactive to what other people in our marketplace are. So I think that's a cool part of it. Would you guys agree, though, that there's a sense of pride and belonging to something greater than just what we are individually by going to the convention, that everyone walks out of there, hopefully feeling good about themselves. So thank you, and those of you for the first time, I hope you enjoyed it. Shannon, you've been to numerous conventions.
Yep, this is my fifth one. And first of all, I want to see how Nico got that vignette around him right there. That's pretty cool. That's awesome. But yeah, it's overwhelming, I think, once you go to one of these and you just see all the attention that Omaha gets and all the awards, and it's a really exciting environment, and it's just go, go, go. I mean, it's exhausting, but it's a great opportunity to learn and meet other people from all over the United States, and even globally. We met several people from Europe that came up and introduced themselves to us, and that was exciting. And that's the thing you get, is that a lot of people do want to introduce themselves to you because Omaha is talked about so much at conventions. So it's a really cool learning experience, and being to go to all the classes and brush up on what's going on in other markets. And it's definitely a great opportunity for everyone to go to. So.
Yeah, we did a couple photo shoots, I think, with a couple of guys from Germany and a couple of European places. We didn't know Americans dressed that weird. Can we get a picture?
Yeah.
So we're like, sure. Is there a segment of the convention that you like best? Again, the social events versus the general sessions versus the network. Is there something that really sticks out to you that you always enjoy?
Well, I love when we get all the awards. That's always a fun, exciting part. So that was awesome. And then the Sunday night, just getting our group together once everyone's kind of settled in, just having us all come together as a group. I just think that's really important, that we're in a different setting, a totally different city, a different place, and just having that, bonding and getting to know one another outside of our office, here in Omaha, Nebraska. That's really cool. But
Thank
also,
you.
yeah, learning.
So we're gonna dive into this. Tanya, let's start with her first. So of the breakout sessions and the general sessions, did you have a favorite speaker or session that you attended?
One of the ones that I did, I've really been putting to use. I don't recall the name of. I tried to figure out from my notes which breakout session it was. I don't know which one it was, but it's been keeping me pretty busy. The point of it was to go in and make lists with your Facebook contacts, primarily just because of Facebook's algorithms. You don't always see all of your friends that you have, so you can go in and create specific lists. And they had suggested making a list that's all of your past clients, making a list of people that you do business with. One thing that I've done is I've kind of next stepped that just to kind of create some other sub lists that's really been super helpful, because I've got a list of people who I call them people who matter. They're cruise directors, and these are typically the first people that, if anybody says anything about real estate, that I've never done business with them. They haven't bought a house, they haven't sold a house, but they're going to be the first person to talk about me when someone says something about real estate. So I have a list of cruise directors, and then I have a list of people who are just referral sources for me that I haven't done business with. So I kind of have them in subcategories. That was a really helpful breakout session for me, just because it seemed like common sense to go in. I just didn't know that you could go in and make lists. So it's been even more relevant now because, I mean, even though it's great to have the lists anyway, but with everything that's going on in the world, it's helped me really stay on top of people in different categories as far as when I'm picking up the phone to call people, you know, and I don't always have everybody's number that's showing up in these different lists, but you know, I would say I spend about an hour every day going through these lists and seeing what's going on in people's lives. What are they posting about? You know, I find a lot of times people are going to tell you, they're going to give you a reason to reach out to them. And I'm not reaching out to them about real estate. I'm reaching out to them, whatever they're talking about. But it's definitely served me well.
Perfect. I think Tasha said in her quote that she gave us last week after we had the top producer panel speaking, is if you're not utilizing social media, I don't have the quote exactly right, but if you're not utilizing social media, you need to be starting now, because in these times when we're not physically getting together with people, we really need to make sure that we are getting some sort of interaction with them. So I think social media, Facebook, Instagram are absolutely critical. Is there a second session or subject that really kind of stuck out to you, or something that you're going to be implementing into your business?
Yes, and it kind of ties in with what I just spoke about. It was the Forever Agent breakout session in the resource center in the marketing area. It ties in where even more so now is emotional marketing, but Berkshire Hathaway's created videos that we can use, and there's a wide variety. They're in there, they're free. You just have to use them. I would encourage everybody to go in and watch them, but it's really, it's giving us a great tool to be able to use for a variety of different clients through different stages of their lives.
Perfect. We'll circle back later here for kind of some parting thoughts with you. Can we go to Katie? Katie, again, general sessions, breakout sessions, doesn't really matter. Was there a favorite speaker or two that you had or session that you attended, and what did you take out of that?
Yeah, I liked Antoine DuPont. He did the orange basket method. He was really talking about video marketing. And I thought an important thing he said was 40 to 60-year-olds are the fastest segment looking at YouTube, which of course they're the ones that are, you know, have the buying power to buy homes. And he said, basically just get on making videos, get over how you look and sound. Millennials are killing it. There's 3 types of videos to make: entertain, elevate, and educate. And basically entertain is very hard to do for most people.
What was those 3 again?
Entertain, videos, elevate, or educate. And he said entertaining and elevating are kind of hard for most people, but the one that most people can do is, you know, educate your clients. And he said, just get on YouTube and do them. He said, if you're looking for ideas, just pick a topic, go to YouTube and see the top videos. And if you don't see the thing that you're thinking about as a top video, go ahead and make it, because it's obviously it needs to be done. Someone else hasn't done it. So, and then I think with like what Tanya said is that Forever Agent was a really good.
There was a couple different ones, Forever Agent ones. Was it with Alan Dalton?
Well, this one, I didn't actually go to his. I took it from Gino's speech. I wrote a lot of notes from Gino's speech, and he just really talked about closing that value gap for your customers. 90% of clients say they'll use you again, but really the number is really 12% of people. So he just said, really, you know, put your arms around your clients and hug them tight and keep in front of them. That was his main.
And, you know, that's really been a push of ours is I believe when difficult times happen and things are going through right now, there's always, you guys have heard me say this for years, there's a flock to quality. And we want to be the forever brand, and you guys are the forever agent. And this time that we have right now is that time to set yourself apart as that forever agent. It is by nurturing that relationship of making those phone calls, of staying in contact with those people, utilizing social media technology and other things to do that. So let's keep that as top of mind and embrace those videos that Berkshire Hathaway has made. And my understanding is throughout the year, they're going to continue to roll more of those out, which is different than what they've done in the past. So Katie, thank you. We'll circle back. Do you have anything else that we're going to circle back in for some last thoughts from you also? All right. Thank you very much. Nico, best sessions that you attended, what's your takeaways from those? If you could share those, please.
Yeah. First off, I want to apologize for my Dateline spy camera filter I have going on my computer right now. The screen is literally falling off, so that's why. Katie, I'm super happy you talked about the orange basket method because that's what I was going to talk about, so totally threw me off. I think I'm going to kind of touch on the orange basket method, how to grow your business with videos, because I think that's probably the most important aspect of our industry right now as far as social media marketing goes. One thing the speaker mentioned was videos are producing 1,800% more engagement than text and pictures combined, which is just an outrageous number. 80% of all consumer traffic is through videos. He kind of went through some some video packages you could buy to do video marketing, but then he got into, I think what Katie mentioned was how to create content. I think that's kind of the biggest struggle we run into is how to generate content. I mean, you know, there's a lot of people right now doing virtual tour walkthroughs in houses with videos, but if you're like me, when you talk and walk, you start to breathe heavy and that doesn't really work well. So Google was definitely a good one, or there's a website, it's called answerthepublic.com, and it's a free website, and you can literally just type in anything real estate related, and what it does is it'll display it in this like a really big wheel, and you can just click on these topics that the internet is searching. So it literally takes like Google, YouTube, all these other search engines and combines it and says, what are the most searched topics right now as far as your industry? And it's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of video content ideas. So I thought that was really interesting. What else did they talk about? Katie mentioned the going to YouTube and seeing if, okay, so now you pick a topic and you type it in YouTube and see if it's being answered properly. And the way the speaker found out is he had a Dodge minivan and he couldn't figure out how to change the time on the clock. So he read through the owner's manual, took him forever. So he made a how-to video on YouTube of how to change the time on a clock of a Dodge Grand Caravan. And it had like 400,000 views in 6 months. So that's when he's like, these how-to videos are kind of important.
I didn't know there was that many Dodge Caravans.
I did not know that either. It's terrifying. And then he had talked about preparation and scripting. He goes, you need to treat it just like it's a show. You need to write a script. You need to use the app method, which is agreed, promise, and preview. So essentially you started off with, I'm sure you would agree that blank, but if I told you blank, in this video, I'm going to show you blank, and kind of fill in the answers and start from there. Write a script, shoot it. He goes, don't be perfect. And he goes, it's a myth that we have a short attention span when it comes to videos. He goes, if you're doing a YouTube video, 15 to 30 minutes, it's going to be fine. People will engage and watch it if it's done properly. And he goes, don't do ads. Don't try to make your videos seem like an ad, because the first thing we do when we hop on the internet and we watch a YouTube video is we do the countdown on that skip ad button. And the minute it hits 0, we skip it and we go right to the video. So he thought those are pretty important.
Was there a second session or speaker that really stuck with you, Nico?
There was one on Facebook marketing, and it was real another brief idea of how to just do some content. So a lot of it would be just tagging other businesses or individuals in your post, making sure your business page is verified. That's fairly important too, because that'll help generate your post in the algorithm. And then also just it was 12 ideas for personal content that converts. I think a lot of the times between our personal page and our Facebook business page, it gets too businessy, for lack of a better term, and all we're posting is ideas like we're just talking about open houses or where the rates are at, or how-to videos like I just mentioned. And it's nice to kind of keep it personal. So when you go to like local restaurants or business, take pictures or tag or write a review, things like that. That also helps just kind of broaden the horizons of your page and generate more followers too.
Nico, seeing you kind of I just had this memory back at the last meal I ate with your dad was with you. Is boy, there was a lot of great food in Nashville, but we went to that barbecue place and the big porker, peg leg porker. Yeah, I felt like a big porker.
That was with a porker talk. Settle down. So no,
but there was a lot of great. I mean, that's one of the things I love. I like Nashville as a convention center more than Vegas. Vegas has its own appeal also, but I thought we ate a lot of great restaurants in that city. That city, I always thought Omaha has a lot of restaurants. I think Nashville has a lot of really good restaurants. So some good food.
We were there for 6 days. I put on probably 10 pounds. It was really bad.
Well, I've been here for the last month, and I told Shannon I got to lose weight. I put on about 15 pounds. So I'm like, stop making Rice Krispie treats and Apple Crisp and all of these things. This is not healthy. So if I start playing healthy videos at the beginning of the sales meetings, it's because I'm talking to myself, guys. Sarah, let's have you pop in. talked about if you could, the top sessions, again, general or breakout sessions that really stick out of your mind, and what kind of some of the top takeaways from those were, if you could, please.
Well, apparently we were all on the same page because Orange Basket was my top breakout class. I just want to mention just a few things that the others did not touch upon with that. Facebook is a scrolling social media platform. So if you're going to do videos on Facebook, make sure that they're short, 20 to 90 seconds. Catch their attention. And then if you're going to then follow it up with a YouTube video, post the link on the Facebook video to tie it back. And 7 to 12 minutes on YouTube is really the sweet spot on the length of time. About 51% of those videos need to be how-to, like Nico mentioned, with the minivan. But you want to entertain. If you've checked out TikTok, do some entertaining like Michael has done recently, or check out Matt Beer's videos. Those are all spot on the way to do videos, and it is how you're going to catch buyers and even sellers' attention. So I won't touch too much on that since others have. I attended the mindset strategies for leaders, just being on the management staff, keeping a positive attitude, but I think it's really hits home for all of us, given what we're all going through right now. So really just staying positive, define your why, define what's in it for you. We really become what we think about. So make sure that you're thinking about the right things every day from the very beginning of your day, and then celebrate your efforts, make a difference, and positive self-talk are really key. So mindset really does matter now more than ever. So those were the two breakout sessions that really hit home. And then the third one was probably Phil Hansen. He was one of the keynote speakers. Again, I think it speaks volumes to what we're all going through. He was a budding artist. He did artwork with dots, and it was very impressive. But from his years of pressing on the pencil, he did permanent damage to his muscles, and he had to give up artwork for quite some time. But he really hammered home. Even he came back and started doing artwork with circles, and I'll post in the chat his Facebook or his website, I'm sorry. But he took a different approach to it, and even though he felt broken for a long time, he was more shaken. So really just embrace that shake. Right now we're all kind of on shaky ground, unknown territory. So just embrace it and just change your business model right now to adapt to it so we can get through it. Those are my key points.
And I can't remember to save my soul, but I know when he went to the doctor and he was complaining about, his shakiness and stuff like that, his doctor basically told him to not focus on the limitations, but to embrace what he had left and the ability to do things. And the thing that I loved about him that drove me crazy, and I loved it all at the same time, is that he would do this art and then he would destroy it.
Yeah.
And he said he would destroy it because that's what helped him continue to recreate things, to be more creative, to continue to push himself to new limits.
Yep.
And so he was really focusing really on the limitless versus the limitations that he had. And so I thought it was just a great example. That was the second time, Shannon, you and I had seen him before. I think we saw him in Vancouver also. But
I'll put his TED Talk on the agent page just so everybody can watch his TED Talk to get a feel for how
he just did some really cool stuff. And then he gave away one of 30 pieces of a Muhammad Ali glass thing that I was really praying that was going to be an auction, because I felt like I had a better chance of buying it than winning it. And that was obviously true because I didn't win it. So we still need to look that up, Gina.
But the girl that won it was her birthday.
The girl that won it was her birthday, so that was, I think that's karma there, so good for her. Sarah, thank you. We'll circle back here in a minute for some last thoughts. Shannon, top sessions, breakout sessions, general sessions that you took away from there, and kind of what are things that you're going to implement in your business from that?
Right. So a lot of it's already been said, so I'll try not to be too repetitive, but the big one was Antoine DuPont, and he did the videos, and which is very important now, as we all know, just sitting at home and watching all these TikToks and seeing everybody, that video is huge right now. But 5 subjects that he said that all people and buyers want to know are cost, problems, comparing like this versus that. They like to go on for reviews, and the best. So cost, problems, compare, reviews, and the best. And kind of what Nico said, that 80%, is this opposite on there?
No, you're good. You're good.
But 80% of all consumers would like to have the visual. And then 67% like understand better when it's visual. So he was like showing us some like some ideas. Oops, sorry, I'll turn that off. But he was showing like this was before and then this was after, and he like increased his impressions. I think like 157% just from making those changes and making it stand out. So just showing like how important the visual is. And he did the same thing with this one. And over 30 days, it was like 188%, just making that change in the design. And that was on his YouTube. So I haven't really delved into to videos yet because I'm very self-conscious. But I did, like, from this, I like revamped my marketing in a way, like my presentation, and just when I email people my pre-listing package, and then also when I meet with them in person. But this used to be it, which we were all talking, like, nobody reads anymore. You know, I'm like, well, I was looking at this and I'm just like, this is just probably trash. Like, nobody's gonna look at that. So I went, this was my marketing plan.
Front and back.
Yeah, front and back, lots of reading. And so I switched it to this, where it's much more, you know, market analysis, staging, put the lockbox on, have the professional photographer, put the sign in the yard, get it up and running on MLS. Here is, you know, about the home warranty, my flyers, social media, and then on the back it goes on AdWorks, Zillow. I just kind of go through my whole process and all the way up to like a moving truck at the end. So I think this is like a huge improvement that I got just from this session, even though it was a video session, just getting the more visual going and people that are actually gonna read or at least, you know, get a snapshot look. People want that information quick and fast. And then other than that, kind of again what Nika said, that that's the answerthepublic.com. Is that going on there right?
You see it. Yep.
Okay, answerthepublic.com. So that's the site where you just type in a word and it'll give you this wheel. So like last night I went on and I typed in real estate, and it gives you all of these topics in a circle around there that you can talk about just to get ideas. So this is real estate. And then I typed in chocolate, and look at all that. That's much better. So
I bet you didn't type in ex-husbands, because that would be really good.
And then after you get the wheel, this is kind of cool too. You can get a chart from the wheel of like all different topics and like the volume and like people, like how many hits it gets. So under real estate, this was the #1 that I saw, which is really sad. It had 9.4 billion hits, and it was how to sell your house by owner. So that's not good. But anyway, it gives you all the others. A lot of them is how to sell your house, or how to avoid paying taxes when selling your house. So this is really helpful just with seeing what's getting all the hits and all the volume. And then he went into like equipment, like, you know, just what you need, and like a Yeti and Logitech, just your camera and just different things that you need to get set up, and soft box lights to make you look better. I don't know. So anyway, that was really the one that I got the most out of, and where I actually, I think, took some things I'm going to use, and I think, you know, that was probably the best session I went to.
Perfect. So yeah, last night we were watching, on Sunday night was the Michael Jordan special on Last Dance, and so we were watching that, and this whole time Shannon was up on her computer at the same time doing something. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, you can't look, you can't look, you can't look. So now I know at the same time you guys know what she was doing. So thank you. We're gonna run through real quick through all of you guys again. Tanya, kind of last takeaway, thoughts of convention. What do you want to leave us with?
I absolutely think everyone, do whatever you have to do to get there. It was so valuable. if there's anything I would do different for Vegas for the next convention is I would make a point to connect with more people ahead of time. I didn't realize that that happened. People reaching out to you. But more so than ever, like when I talked about making the different lists on Facebook is don't disappear right now. Don't be a ghost agent. Your people need to hear from you and talk to you, and definitely get to the next convention for sure.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Katie.
One thing I wanted to talk about, or not, it's not about my business, but the other thing that I really enjoyed was the Sunshine Kids event. I just kind of thought, oh, we're just going to go to this little concert and listen to this concert, but it was just really an emotional, just a great experience. I don't think we've really talked enough about that. But.
No, and unfortunately, I think I said 2 sales meetings ago, we usually have our big event every 2 years where we expected to raise $400,000. And I was on the phone with the Sunshine Kids yesterday talking about that we do have a chunk of money coming down to them from the Sunshine Kids house. But that is an incredible organization that is very close to our hearts. So those of you who have not been around for a Sunshine Kids event, we will do it next year. We just didn't feel right at this point in time running out with everything going on and trying to raise money and asking money for that. But it is an unbelievable cause. And when you get to know these kids, as we've got to know them, Shannon, over the years, is you really see the impact, talking about making a difference in people's lives. We are really making a meaningful difference, and many of their lives has literally been changed because they went on that trip, and it took them from a mindset to a totally different arena where all of a sudden a couple of them that spoke last year won gold medals in the Olympic thing. I'm drawing a blank on what I'm. Okay, but it's so cool. So please help us and embrace that next year when we do that. And I do know Josh is going to be doing a golf tournament to raise money for them here in September. So please embrace that. But Katie, thank you for bringing that up, because that's a really cool part, I think, of being part of this franchise and the relationship they have with giving back to the community and picking that as their charity of choice. So I appreciate that. And that's something dear and near to my heart. So Nico, parting thoughts, buddy.
I think probably one of the biggest takeaways from convention, and this is when I experienced probably the first time I went, is going and getting a stronger sense of community within the office. It's nice to spend time with agents outside of the office in a social setting, get to know them more on a personal level, and it's an excuse to get away for a few days and for your clients, and you don't have to worry about it because you're learning at a convention. But also too, just the breakout sessions are absolutely phenomenal. The speakers they bring in are top notch. And being able to collaborate with not only agents in the office, but other agents around the country and see what they're doing, what tools they're utilizing, and learning from them. It's just, you just have to go and experience it for yourself. But once you do, you always want to go.
Thank you very much. Sarah.
Just to reiterate what the forever agent means, Chris Stewart spoke about this. Be relatable, humble, and show your value. Be caring and be helpful. And then forever actually is an acronym. So F stands for first, O stands for only, R is relevant, E is educational, V bring value, E is engaged, and R is responsibility. So I just think that that's key, that we keep all those attributes in mind going forward this year.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Shannon, wrap us up here so we get on to the next panel.
Well, Antoine DuPont, that one I was talking about, I signed up and he sent over some different rubrics or things that you could do. So I'll get those over to Gina so she can get those out to everybody with the meeting notes. But otherwise, I just had, like I said, it's just fun, getting everyone together. We have different pictures. I'm sure you've seen a lot of this online. This was really fun when Vince wore his Chiefs jersey and was showing that off in front of Gino when he won. So that was awesome. But we just had a great time. It was just fun for everybody. Really cool. Now this is something we got to make sure Vince does. But Berkel's did this with their shirts, and I'm like, we need shirts for our whole group so we all, can stand out. So you said next year we're gonna do this, and we're all gonna get shirts.
I said that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I actually caught this picture out the side during one of the sessions. So I thought that was kind of funny. That's it.
You see, this is the beauty of having your wife speak on these things, and you have no control over what she's going to say. But guys, thank you very much. We're gonna, Gina, you're gonna get our next panelists up as we dive into this. But guys, thank you very much. You're done. Thank you very much. You know, I hope each one of you are taking some notes. I think Gina, as we have panelists, is going to start getting quotes from each one of our panelists to when she sends out the notes to share with you guys. So please read those notes. But I am glad, I'll be honest with you, this brings back a lot of memories, even though it's 5 weeks ago since we were at convention, of all of the value that we have in that. And I agree that, to me, really that Sunday night thing is just kicking this thing off, getting this all together. And as Nico said, or one of you said, I apologize, that, you know, there's people even in your own office that you just don't really talk to. You maybe say hi as they walk down the hall, but being able to get to know each other a little bit better and just come together and celebrate all of our accomplishments, because it really is a group effort. I mean, we're not winning top office and all of the recognitions we have without all of us together collectively doing it. So it was cool to hear your guys' experiences, and we'll be sending a lot of this stuff out. I'm looking at Gina here. We'll be sending a lot of this stuff out to you guys as we do our notes on this. So next group, we've got Ryan, Jennifer, Diane, and Maggie. So hi guys, and welcome. There, I was gonna say, I didn't have Diane's picture, but I do now. There we go. Ryan, and again, I don't pick these in order. I just go the way my screen has you set up, guys. So I don't take offense if you're first or last. There's no meaning to this. Let's unmute Ryan if we could. Ryan, first convention, second convention?
Fourth, actually.
Fourth.
Yep, fourth convention. And I think the biggest thing that I learned on this one actually is the fact that we are so different when it comes to our office and our culture and just everything like that. Because as I talked with other people, you know, you hear from people all over that, like, when they find out you're from Omaha, you're kind of like a celebrity. And I'd heard that in years past, and then this time around it was a little bit different, where I think for me, I was really humbled, and you know, it made me feel proud of like where I'm from and what we have here, and just the people that we work with that are willing to share, and masterminds and things like that. And hearing from other people where they're like, man, we walk into our office and it's just dead and there's no excitement, and I'm like, that would suck. So I'm thankful that we have an office of people that love to have a good time, love to share, and love to help push one another to become better. So
I appreciate it. Jennifer, your first convention, obviously, you started with us last year. Kind of your thoughts on this, and you know, what was as you walked away from it, what were you feeling? You know, was it, and what were you kind of surprised about as this being your first convention?
So I thought it was incredible. I did. I had been to an NAR convention, night and day difference. I'd rather go to a Berkshire one any day. You feel at the NAR convention, it's all over the place. It's a big, huge group. It's just everywhere. It's so much. And with this one, it's more personable. You feel like family with everyone there, even though they're from all over. I will say, probably being new to the company, I've been here about 6 months, my first Berkshire convention. I'd never heard Gino speak. I'd never heard Chris speak. So that was mind blowing for me. But I would say the biggest thing for me above all else is the awards that Omaha got stacked up against all the other offices across the nation. I was literally just in tears when I saw that, and just the feeling we all had when we were all standing and clapping, and just, it was incredible. It was incredible to hear Omaha. And here you are, you've got the East Coast, you've got the West Coast, and Omaha kept coming up. It just, I don't know, just brought a tear to my eye. I thought it was great and fantastic. I loved it. I loved it. And I think everybody should go and experience it.
Thank you very much. Maggie, I know you were in Vegas last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, just the second year, I mean, I'll kind of reiterate what some other people have said, but just to see the power of the BHHS brand, and to really understand, I guess, what some of the, I guess, HSF and the affiliates are helping with and providing. And then to just kind of echo what Jennifer said, I mean, I think Gino and Chris are both phenomenal speakers, very, very involved. And they also then do some of these breakout sessions and some of the other, I guess, round tables and small groups, which is nice because you feel like you get to be in touch with them and learn from them at different levels. And then just to be able to cheer on our agents as they walk across the stage. It's super cool to see the people you're walking across in the hall every day being recognized at a national level. So it's a great experience. You know, if you haven't been, I would say you definitely need to go.
Diane, were you there last year?
I was not. This was my first year. So, and I have to echo everybody else because it was phenomenal. Years ago, I used to be in the corporate world, and we would go to awards things and productions like this. That this was, you know, probably far surpassed some of those that I'd gone to. And you know, kind of echoing what Jennifer said too. And this was actually one of my takeaways was, you know, what great agents and teams that we have, and you know, with these uncertain market times and stuff, it's really fortunate that we're working with such a great brokerage. So that was neat. I would encourage everybody, if they can, to go. The facility was wonderful. I think it's one of the best convention centers I've ever been into, because if you know me, I got to find a bathroom. So there was bathrooms at every corner, which was really great. But anyway, no, it was wonderful. And all the speakers were great, and all the breakout sessions were great. So
Diane, why don't we just start with you, and then we'll circle back here. Of the breakout sessions and the general speakers, did you have a favorite session or speaker that you heard, and kind of what were your takeaways from that?
You know, Alan Dalton, I went to his, it was the Forever Agent. He's a funny guy. He was very entertaining, a great presenter. And, you know, a lot of my takeaways, we've already kind of heard from people. When he talked about it, it's how I present myself in my listings and stuff, but he talked about the 5 mistakes that agents made. And I kind of paid attention to that. One being listing agent versus a marketing agent. You know, in this market, we can't just list, we've got to provide value to our customers. So that was one thing. Personal promotion versus property promotion, kind of a fine line there, because we're there to promote, you know, an individual's property and get it sold. Agents that view a property as a commodity, especially in our environment right now, you know, it isn't a commodity anymore. I mean, we're doing business out of our homes. We're teaching our children out of our homes. You know, we conduct most of our daily lives out of our houses. So how we view a house, I think, is important. Another one he talked about was agents that dictate prices versus collaborate. I think sometimes we do a market analysis and, you know, here's a range, you know, what do you think? But I think we have to ask people, you know, what do you think? Why do you think that? You know, here's what the market's telling us, and, you know, kind of work through those things together. And then the other thing was agents assuming a home didn't sell because of price. There's a lot of reasons why a house might not sell. So, you know, you don't want to end up using price as the end all to be all. That can get us in trouble too down the road when you're looking at appraisals and everything else. So, so that was good for me. I kind of going through each one of those and seeing where I sit in relation to each of those. I also went to the Facebook and social media one, which everybody's talked about. So the thing that I found interesting is the statistics they gave, that 65% of consumers are influenced by Facebook. And Nico talked about that answerthepublic.com. One of the comments they made about that website was that people will go on there and ask a question to get an answer, a question that they wouldn't maybe ask their friends or ask on Facebook. It's kind of like the secret source of information. So if you can kind of drill down on what the consumer really is asking, you know, I think that website can be very beneficial for us. And then the videos, I'm leaving that in Josh's court. He's my little cameraman. So.
I know I asked you or Josh to join on. I think you were pushing Josh, but then you said, I guess I'll be on here, not Josh. So hopefully we'll push him to do this next, okay?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Diane. Maggie, I'm going to let you go last because you and Jennifer, I'm going to pop up to Ryan, Jennifer, and then Maggie as we wrap this thing up. Ryan.
Yeah. I'm obviously a little biased because I coach for him, but Jared James in his session encouraged a lot of people to go to that and listen to him. And I'm always learning stuff from him every single time he speaks or we get together or we talk. And his biggest thing is he always says it, marry the principle and date the model. The principle always being, that you're in real estate, you're going to sell houses, right? But the model constantly changes. And so as technology changes, as strategies change, as all these things, like you've got to be willing to adapt and change and pivot with it. So I just thought that was good because I feel like he's one guy, if you don't follow him, that I think separates him from other coaches and people out there is the fact that he really stays on top of, the industry and has a lot of connections with people, whether they're CEOs at Zillow or other brokerages or things like that are always bringing, different insight into the industry. And he shared with 3 ways, kind of what I'll take back and share with you guys is 3 ways to grow your business. So he talked about 1, you need to increase the number of clients, obviously. And he's like, that's changed. Like if you would have heard him speak like 2 years ago, he would have been saying, hey, bring your sphere down to like 300-500 people and really work that sphere. And now he's saying, build that sphere to like 3,000 people and tie them into drip campaigns and newsletters and drop on them and things like that. And then increase your frequency, which I think goes along with what Chris Stewart did when he first came out. Chris Stewart talked about basically NAR interviewed and said 90% of clients were asked if they would use their realtor again when they closed on their house. 90% said yes, but then they followed back up with those people, and only 12% actually did use the same realtor. And so he talked a lot about, your value and providing that value to your people and staying in front of them. And so, Jared talked about increase your frequency, and that means spend way more time following up with your sphere and people than actually chasing leads, because that's going to be more productive and you're going to see an increase in your production there. And then increase your average price point. So finding out what that average price point is, and then obviously going to maybe increase that a little bit as far as stepping up to a new neighborhood or going like that to market yourself and brand yourself. So I thought his session was really good. I heard a lot of feedback from that. And then I also went to a guy named Brian Franzo called Press the Damn Button. And he basically just had a lot of insight as far as marketing and doing things like that moving forward, and talking about the difference between technology and things nowadays, and meeting with these other Fortune 500 companies. And he said a couple things that I'll quote here and I'll send to Gina, but you can't force change. You must inspire and teach it. So I thought that was really good. Just his basically preference on that was like, stop waiting for change to happen, but you actually need to become the change and become that voice in your community, and do that. And then people will buy with someone they relate to. So as you're doing social media, as you're doing all these other things and these marketing things with your business and things like that, like I think we're really starting to see, as I shared about the Chris Stewart thing, and with Brian, like, people are wanting value. And so like, if we're not providing them value after the close of a sale, then they won't use us later on down the road. So we've got to move and shift our mindset from being someone that's always thinking about, moving on to the next sale and getting the next one, to just working our sphere. And I think, someone that does that really well and that you can learn from is Megan Owens. And I think a lot of us can learn just how to basically spend way more time working on our sphere and working with those people that we do know and that already trust us, than trying to chase after a bunch of these leads a lot of times that are just complete strangers, and you're following up with them 20, 30 times trying to get a sale, when we're missing the 78% that Chris talked about, that's bridging that gap and creating that loyalty and that trust.
Thank you. I appreciate it. this is what's so cool is we've heard some people talk about the same sessions, but they kept giving different perspectives and things they took out of it. And hearing all of the different sessions that you guys went through, you gave us some very valuable input that we can utilize. So Jennifer, can we chat about what was your favorite sessions, breakout and or general, and what did you take out of those?
So I thought all the general sessions were incredible, but and I'm just gonna have to piggyback because Phil Hansen, it was amazing. I just loved Phil Hansen. I have to agree with everything Sarah said about him. It was just incredible. I actually went to go into the Forever Agent and it was full. And so I thought, well, now what? So I just squeezed into the next one. It didn't matter which class you went into. They were all incredible and they were all good. It happened to be the video one. I was in there with Shannon. I didn't know what to expect. I was just floored at how good that guy was. Antoine DuPont, he has YouTube videos out there. So I should suggest everybody go watch them. And then you'll see what we saw. One of the things that Shannon had a lot of the points that I was going to make, but one of the things that I liked that he said, people always say,
I told her, I said, don't make Jennifer look stupid, Shannon. That's one thing I told her this whole thing.
One of the things though that I didn't see, a lot of agents will say, I don't have time. I don't have time. How am I going to make all these videos, right? I'm working, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. He did say he makes all of his videos in the beginning of the week. He does them all and does a whole bunch. So he creates all of his videos and then posts them. So that's something that I think, was helpful that I didn't hear anybody talk about. I moved right after the convention, so a lot of my notes and everything I can't find. So I'm trying to remember stuff. I went to a class on how to hold a successful sales meeting. And for me, in my position, I thought it was fabulous. However, I have to admit, you do a lot of what she said. But for me, on mine, I got a lot of takeaways from it. What else? I do think when you go to convention that you need to expect the unexpected. Who knew you'd be taking a tour of the part of town? Next thing you know, you're in a parking lot listening to Cheryl Crow live, and I was 10 feet away from her. So it was just incredible.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Maggie.
Yep. So I've heard a lot of the stats that I was going to give, but basically there was a AdWorks and Facebook class. I think several have mentioned it. And part of that was the 90% want to work with you, but 12% actually do. And so a big piece of that, AdWorks kind of jumped in and said, hey, look, 63% of your business comes from your sphere. So they have tools that you can use to market to your sphere, basically set up the ads, provide your client's email address, your sphere's email address, and it shows up. And, we've talked about this before, but it shows up, follows them on various websites that they might be visiting. Part of that with AdWorks, if you're not adding your seller's email address to your listing, you should be. One of their statistics was that the agents that are adding their clients' email to the listings and using that platform saw an increase in 35% in their listings. So if that's something that you're not familiar with or aren't doing yet, please reach out. We can help you get that created and take care of you. So, other than that, I have like the day before, marketing and some tech people do a get together with all the other BHHS franchise companies in similar roles. And so we're able to preview the 2020 campaign. They went through a lot of what's been mentioned. So the Forever brand and the Forever agent. So the Forever brand and the agent really being that trusted advisor, kind of to be that person through the entire consumer life cycle. So from, trying to decide rent versus buy, moving up, and then downsizing. And so there are hundreds of pieces on Resource Center in marketing resource that with Alan Dalton and Chris Stewart, whether it's video, email blasts, social media pieces that kind of cover every generation, every demographic that you could possibly want to target and to put out there. So one of the things that I had sent Gina is I'm not sure anybody has seen some of the franchise and brand commercials that are going to be coming out over the next, I would say, couple of months. So Gina, if you wanted to show the mom and daughter one, so I'm going to show one kind of like long form that you would see TV streaming, things like that. And then there's another version in here. It's a 6-second, they call it a consumable version, and it's something that you can use on Facebook and Instagram, and it's shortened to, I guess, be to that consumer's attention span. So, you know, like.
Got it?
Yep.
I think you're gonna like this one. Ready to sell?
Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices. For you, for life.
So really,
and Maggie, where can they find those? And my understanding is we're going to continue to do more of those throughout the year for us to grab, and they want and encourage us to take those and put those on our social media sites and share those with others.
Correct. So there are 60-second to 6-second versions of about 4 different commercials that they filmed. Those were just a couple. So if you go into the Resource Center and go into Marketing Resource, there's a banner across the top that has the 2020 campaign. And along with that, you'll find the Alan Dalton, the lifestyle guides, and the More to Know videos. And those are the videos that they're going to be dripping out over the next several weeks. So there's a lot of resources there in the Resource Center. And just quickly to jump in on a lot of the comments that some of our agents and team members have made, you know, as you're updating marketing materials, or if you're trying to kind of rebrand yourself and refocus, just remember that we have a marketing department here that can help you do that also. So as you're going through and redoing those things and refreshing, you can reach out to us as well.
Thank you. We're going to wrap up 20 seconds, 30 seconds. Each one of you, Diane, top takeaway. What do you want to leave us with?
Just what a great organization we have. It was fabulous. And, you know, social media, I'm kind of old school, but I'm learning how to catch up to Facebook, social media, video processing. You know, they describe Facebook as low-hanging fruit. You know, 65% of consumers are influenced by what their friends and people say. So it's really important that we start utilizing those tools. So I'm getting better at that. And I recommend everybody go to the convention. It's so proud to see, you know, all the recognition that Omaha got and people's perception of us. And it's especially in these uncertain times. So just hoping everybody's staying safe and healthy, and eventually we'll get back to somewhat normal business maybe, or it'll be something new.
Thank you, Diane. I appreciate your input and participation today. Ryan, real quick, give us your takeaway, buddy.
Yeah, I think, like I said, you know, before, I think it's just taking advantage of the time. I think everybody's talked about this, of just meeting with people and the conversations. Like I get so much out of just talking with other people, even at convention that I don't typically get to talk to. Had great conversations with like Adam Briley and some other people, and those are just people that I don't typically get to have conversations with. So I just appreciate the time that everybody's willing to share. And as we continue to grow as a company, like there's a reason why we're the #1 office in the country, because we're just free to share that kind of stuff. So I appreciate that and appreciate everyone sharing with me.
Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate your input. Jennifer?
I'll admit I didn't know a whole lot about the Sunshine Kids. I knew some, but not what I knew once I was there. And when they did the Sunshine Kids and told all about it and had all the representatives there, it just really humbled me. I was ready to just write a check. So that was a big takeaway for me, is learning more about the Sunshine Kids and how important it is.
Cool. You're gonna be learning a lot more over the next year. So I like hearing that. Thank you. Maggie, wrap us up here.
Really, it's just the power of the brand and a lot of the resources that are available to us to use. I love the networking aspect, kind of along with what others said. You get to know agents in the office a little better and a little bit more than you do before. So, and I've been to a lot of conferences, whether it's NAR or home services meetings in the past, and this is by far the best conference with the best takeaways and speakers that I've been to. So it's a great opportunity.
Guys, thank you. We are 10 minutes over our time. I was last Tuesday, my good friend Steve Face up in Michigan had me be a guest speaker for his group. And so there's some thoughts that I'm going to share with you next week. And we will continue here at least over the next 2 or 3 weeks to do sales meetings weekly. I think we had about 300 people on the call. I saw high twos at one point in time, 290 something. So if you guys are finding value in this, we're going to continue to do this. But one of the questions that asked me that I want to share with you next week is that they said, with all of this change of what's going on here and everyone's doing Zoom calls and using technology and everything else, is that going to continue to devalue us as agents? And my answer to that, which I'll dive into next week, is absolutely not. We're in the relationship building business, first and foremost, build and nurture those relationships, and I'll dive into that. Real quick statistics, much to my amazement, listings as of Friday, month to date, we're basically on par with where we were last April, and last April was a very strong month. And pendings, which we know has clearly slowed down. We've had lots of people saying that they went to the sideline and hit pause and so forth. We'll talk a little bit more about this next week. Pendings, I'm anticipating are going to come in 20-25% less than what we did last year. But last year, April was our best month with approximately 1,430 new transactions. I'm within 10. Don't hold me to that number. I'm anticipating we've got an outside chance of hitting 1,100 transactions. 1,100 transactions is a good month for most months. So you guys, there's plenty of business out there. Continue to stay in touch with everybody in your database. Let them know that you care. That's going to be our constant message. We will continue to update you on our opinion in regards to open houses, but it does look like you're going to have some new construction stuff opening up here in early May. But guys, I appreciate you. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay focused mentally, stay strong and stay positive. It's very important to you. Thank you. Take care. Have a wonderful week, guys. Bye-bye.